Hello, and welcome to the Great North Gardener. If you've ever dreamed of creating a beautiful and productive garden for your home but weren't sure where to begin, you've come to the right place. Here, we provide straightforward, practical help for every step of your gardening journey. This video is your comprehensive how-to guide, specifically tailored for gardening in Zone 5 Canada. We'll explore the very best annuals, biennials, perennials, and vegetables that thrive in our unique climate. More importantly, we'll show you exactly how to prepare for a successful season. Right then, let's get stuck in. June in Zone 5 is an absolutely brilliant, transformative time to be out in the garden. All the planning and patience of the cooler months finally pays off as the landscape bursts into life. The weather is finally, reliably on our side. The last of the pesky plant-damaging frosts are hopefully behind us for good, allowing our tender plants to breathe a collective sigh of relief. The soil itself is warming up nicely, creating the perfect cozy bed for roots to spread out and establish themselves. And of course, the days are getting noticeably longer and sunnier, bathing our gardens in light from early morning until late evening. It's the perfect recipe for strong, healthy, and happy plants. This guide is all about making the most of this truly magic month. We're going to break down everything you need to know to set your garden up for a season of abundance. We'll chat about the best annuals for instant color, biennials to plan for next year, perennials that form the backbone of your garden, and of course, delicious vegetables for your table. We'll also cover exactly how to get your garden beds ready for a fantastic growing season, from amending the soil to planning your layout. This is your moment. June is when the garden truly comes alive, shifting from the quiet potential of spring to the vibrant energy of summer. With the risk of a surprise frost having mostly passed, a whole new world of planting opportunities opens up. You can now confidently sow seeds directly into the soil and move your young, hardened-off plants outdoors into their final spots in beds and containers. The long days give your plants loads of sunlight, fueling the photosynthesis they need for vigorous growth. It's a busy month, there's no doubt about it, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Think of it as the grand opening of your summer garden, and you're the master of ceremonies. So, roll up your sleeves, it's time to get your hands dirty. But first, a crucial reminder: always be mindful of your specific local last frost date. In Zone 5 this can vary quite a bit, usually falling somewhere between late May and mid-June. Know your microclimate. If an unexpected late frost warning does appear in the forecast, don't panic. Simply use a floating row cover, or even an old bedsheet propped up on stakes, to protect your tender plants overnight. A little bit of caution now pays off with huge rewards later. Big wins for June are coming right up. In the next sections we'll dive into preparing your beds, choosing the right plants, and essential care tips to ensure a summer full of color and flavor. Alright, let's talk about the foundation of any great garden, the soil. Getting this right before you plant is the single most important step for a successful season. Think of it as building a strong home for your plants. First, give your beds a thorough tidy up. Pull out every weed, making sure to get the roots. Remove any stones, sticks, and old plant debris from last season. A clean slate prevents competition for nutrients and water, so a little effort here makes a huge difference later on. Now for the good stuff. Spread a generous layer of 2 to 4 inches of well-rotted compost over the entire bed. Then, gently work it into the top 6 to 8 inches of your existing soil with a garden fork or tiller. This enriches the soil with vital nutrients and improves its structure. Let's do a quick drainage test. Dig a small hole about a foot deep, fill it with water, and let it drain completely. Then, fill it again and time how long it takes for the water to disappear. If it's gone in a few hours, your drainage is great. If it lingers for more than 6 to 8 hours, your soil is likely heavy clay. In that case, work in more organic matter like compost, or consider building raised beds to give your plant roots the oxygen they need. Finally, rake the surface to create a lovely, level bed. You're aiming for a fine, crumbly texture, like breadcrumbs. This ensures that when you sow seeds, they all sit at a consistent depth for even germination. Next up, the most important factor for growth: sunlight. Before you plant anything, spend a day observing your garden. Note which areas get sun in the morning, at midday, and in the afternoon. Full sun means at least 6 to 8 hours of direct, unfiltered light daily. This is non-negotiable for most vegetables and flowering annuals. Reserve your sunniest, most prized real estate for the true sun worshippers. That means plants like tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, squash, and vibrant flowers like zinnias and cosmos. They need that intense energy to produce abundant fruit and blooms. Don't discount your less sunny spots. Part shade areas, those that get about 4 to 6 hours of sun, preferably gentle morning sun, are perfect for delicate leafy greens like lettuce and spinach, as well as many herbs like parsley and mint. The afternoon shade will protect them from scorching. Now let's think about layout. A pro tip is to plant your tallest crops like sunflowers, corn, or pole beans on a trellis along the north side of your garden bed. This way, they won't cast a shadow over their shorter neighbors as the sun moves across the sky. You can even use this principle to your advantage. Let taller, sun-loving plants like tomatoes strategically create some welcome afternoon shade for heat-sensitive crops like lettuce, extending their growing season into the warmer months. If your garden is in a windy, exposed location, constant wind can dry out and stress your plants. Consider adding a small trellis with screening, a decorative fence, or even a row of sturdy shrubs to act as a windbreak and create a calmer microclimate. And don't forget access. Plan your paths so you can easily reach every part of your garden for weeding, watering, and harvesting without ever stepping on the beds. This prevents soil compaction, which is the enemy of healthy roots. Aim for beds no wider than 4 feet. With your beds prepped, it's prime time for planting heat lovers like tomatoes and peppers. For tomatoes, use sturdy cages or stakes and plant them deep, burying the bottom sets of leaves to encourage a stronger root system. For some quick wins, sow fast-growing crops like lettuce and radishes directly into the soil. For root vegetables like carrots, ensure the soil is loose and free of stones. Thin the seedlings once they sprout to give each carrot enough room to develop properly. For beans, you have choices. Bush beans are compact and great for planting in neat rows, while pole beans will climb any support you give them and produce beans for a much longer season. I always recommend growing vining plants like cucumbers and summer squash vertically up a trellis. This not only saves precious garden space but also improves airflow, which reduces disease and keeps the fruit off the ground and away from pests. Don't forget the herbs. Tuck in basil, dill, parsley, and cilantro throughout your beds. Basil especially loves the sun and is a classic companion for tomatoes, both in the garden and in the kitchen. Annual flowers give you instant, long-lasting color and can even help your veggies. Marigolds are famous for deterring pests when planted near vegetables. Zinnias and cosmos are effortlessly beautiful, attract pollinators, and are fantastic as cut flowers for bouquets. For containers, petunias are a classic choice, spilling beautifully from baskets and pots. Just remember to keep them well watered, and they'll reward you with a cascade of blooms all summer long. And for a flower that works extra hard, plant nasturtiums. They actually thrive in poor soil, and both their leaves and flowers are edible. They have a wonderful peppery taste that's perfect for salads. Sow the seeds directly in June, while annuals provide the flash. Perennials like daylilies and hostas build the long-term structure of your garden. Planting them in June gives them plenty of time to establish strong roots before winter. You can also find beautiful phlox and potted peonies at the garden center now. Finally, consider lavender. It adores full sun and demands sharp drainage. If you have heavy clay soil, it's best to plant lavender in pots with a gritty mix or in the amended soil of a raised bed to ensure it thrives. Now for the fun part, planting. Starting from seed is a fantastic way to save money and access a wider variety of plants. For vegetables with sensitive taproots, direct sowing into the garden bed is the only way to go. Think carrots, radishes, beans, and peas. They really dislike having their roots disturbed, so planting them where they'll grow ensures a happy, healthy start. On the other hand, for crops with a long growing season, like tomatoes, peppers, and eggplant, using transplants is a smart move. Our short Zone 5 summers mean these heat lovers need a head start to produce a bountiful harvest before the first frost. If you've raised your own seedlings indoors, you must harden them off before planting. This crucial step acclimates them to the outdoors, preventing shock and sunburn. Start by placing them in a sheltered, shady spot for just an hour or two. Over the course of a week to 10 days, gradually increase their time outside and slowly introduce them to more direct sunlight. Whether you're using seeds or transplants, always check the packet or plant tag for specific instructions on planting depth, spacing, and sun requirements. It's your roadmap to success. When you first plant everything, the bed might look a bit sparse, but resist the urge to crowd them. Proper spacing is vital. It gives each plant the room it needs to grow to its full potential and ensures good air circulation, which is your best defense against fungal diseases. Let's talk water. The key is to water deeply and less often, encouraging roots to grow down into the soil. Always water at the base of the plant, not over the leaves. In a typical June, a good, thorough soaking once or twice a week is a great starting point. The best time to water is in the early morning. This gives the plant all day to absorb the moisture and allows any stray splashes on the leaves to dry quickly in the sun, further reducing the risk of disease. But don't just stick to a schedule. Let your garden tell you when it's thirsty. The classic finger test never fails. If the soil is dry 2 inches down, it's time to water. To make your watering efforts last, add a 2 to 3 inch layer of mulch. Shredded bark is long-lasting. Straw is excellent for keeping soil cool, and untreated grass clippings are a free source of nitrogen. Mulch is a gardener's best friend. It conserves moisture, cools the soil, and dramatically suppresses weeds. If you amended your beds with plenty of rich compost in the spring, you've already provided a fantastic foundation of nutrients. Many plants may not need much extra fertilizer. However, some crops are particularly hungry. Tomatoes, cucumbers, and zucchini are known as heavy feeders and will appreciate a boost. For these plants, use a balanced liquid feed about once a month. Always follow the label instructions carefully. It's tempting to give them more, but overdoing it can lead to lush, green leaves with very few fruits. A healthy garden is one you visit often. Make it a habit to stroll through your garden every few days. Look under leaves, check the stems, and get to know your plants. This is how you'll catch any potential pest or disease issues early, when they're easiest to manage. For larger pests like slugs and tomato hornworms, the most effective control is simply picking them off by hand and dropping them into a bucket of soapy water. For smaller pests like aphids, a sharp spray from the hose can be enough to dislodge them. If they return, a mild soap solution applied to new growth can help manage the population without harming your plants. Prevention is even better. Use floating row covers as a physical barrier to block pests like cabbage moths from laying eggs on your brassicas. And embrace companion planting. Flowers like marigolds and cosmos, and herbs like basil and rosemary can attract beneficial insects that prey on pests. Good spacing and watering the soil, not the leaves, are your primary defenses against common fungal issues like powdery mildew, which looks like a white dusty coating, and early blight on tomatoes, which presents as yellow spots with brown centers. If you do spot diseased foliage, act quickly. Snip it off with clean pruners and dispose of it in the trash, not your compost pile, to prevent it from spreading. Finally, the reward. Harvesting regularly is key. Picking vegetables at their peak not only gives you the best flavor and texture, but it also sends a signal to the plant to keep producing more. For cut-and-come-again crops like lettuce and kale, harvest the outer leaves and allow the center of the plant to continue growing for a continuous supply. Pick pea and bean pods when they are full and crisp, before the seeds inside become tough and starchy. Harvest zucchini and summer squash when they're small and tender for the best texture and taste. And for tomatoes, wait until they are fully colored and feel slightly soft to the touch. Nothing compares to the taste of a truly vine-ripened tomato. Don't forget your herbs. Regularly pinching the tops of basil and parsley will encourage them to become bushier and more productive. If you're feeling overwhelmed, remember to start small. Even one potted tomato, a small patch of lettuce, a container of quick-growing radishes, and a pot of fresh basil can bring so much joy and flavor to your summer. Gardening is a journey of learning. Keep a simple journal to track what worked and what didn't. Most importantly, celebrate your successes, learn from the challenges, and enjoy the simple pleasure of watching life grow.